Molière, c'est l'idiot n'a pas pris. En face à pareil à Kampala. Pourquoi tu penses que les Français tirent la internationale?
Que tu sois fondé autour du four du plaisir. Dis-moi le bonheur en Uganda est là, en pleine évolution.
Parlez français,
Parlez français,
parlez français,
everybody parlez français,
parlez français,
everybody, bina moke, bina moke, bina moke,
bina moke,
everybody, bina moke,
bina moke,
bina à gauche,
bina à gauche,
bina à droite,
bina à droite,
bina devant,
bina devant,
bina derrière,
bina derrière,
bina devant,
bina devant.
parlez français,
Parlez français,
parlez français,
parlez français,
parlez français. Venez, venez,
venez à parler français, venez à l'alliance française,
je vous invite à venir, venez à parler français, à Kamochao,
venez à l'alliance française,
à Bukoto Street,
venez
Claude
à parler
Saint-André.
français,
Venez, venez, venez.
venez à l'alliance française,
Si tu veux parler français,
venez
viens à
à
l'Alliance.
parler français,
Si tu veux parler,
venez à l'alliance française,
si tu veux entrer dans la famille,
venez
viens,
à
viens,
parler
viens,
français,
viens, viens, viens.
venez à l'alliance française.
People at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
Of Talent Television. My name is Ateng Emmanuel. If you haven't yet grabbed your cup of coffee, this would be a good time to do that. Welcome to the show that is all about coffee, where we get to talk about coffee, we get to explain things about coffee, where we get to brew coffee on the show. I don't think there's any other show in Uganda that is like this one. We have a lot of stuff planned for you guys today. At some time in the show, we'll be brewing coffee. For those of you who want to learn, those of you who have been on YouTube University, those of you who have been on Google trying to learn how to make a good cup of coffee, well, we're going to do that today. And with me in the studio, like always, we have the coffee messiah, Mr. Amon Mukisa. And it's always lovely to see that smile on his face every time we say the coffee messiah. Amon, you're very welcome to the show. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
You're looking all good. I see you on that beard plan, you know.
I'm happy that I'm partially limited from the lockdown, so I'm enjoying everything.
Actually, partially is a very
Partially
good word.
compared to
Yeah,
fully being locked
it's
down,
better than what was there before.
Man, it was worse.
Well, Amon, it's very good to see you. And we have a special guest with us here today, all the way from Kuwait. We're getting international people. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Derek Watiti. Derek, you're very welcome to the show. Welcome to House of Talent Television. Welcome to the coffee break. You know, this is a family that, you know, gets to talk all about coffee with the Messiah here. We're trying, what we're trying to do is to convert people, you know. We're trying to convert people from, you know, just taking tea, from having a tea culture, you know, into a coffee culture. Okay, so you're very welcome to the show. I believe that we're going to have a very good show today.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And, very glad to be here.
It's really good to have you. Now, knowing you, we know that you have been in Kuwait, okay,
Yes.
I think for 2 years.
Yes,
All
sure.
right. And we just want you to go through your profile, basically. We know you, but the people out there do not know who Derek is. Okay, so if you could just take us through your profile, who is Derek in a nutshell?
Derek is a coffee lover,
Yeah.
yes, who was driven with a passion to learn coffee. Coffee is an art, so basically you create. So I was doing some other things,
Yeah.
but I loved seeing and watching people make coffee, and then, you know, decorating those beautiful coffees,
Yeah.
and then, you know, someone getting to share with you about what coffee can do, and it was really very amazing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give it a try, and
Okay.
guess what?
Yeah.
It wasn't disappointing.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay, that's an interesting thing. So before you went to Kuwait,
Yes.
okay, we believe that you had a life here in Uganda, okay? How was your life here in Uganda like, and why did you decide to say, you know what, I think Uganda is not working at the moment? There's that saying that, you know, Kampala has refused. So what took you to that point of saying, you know what, Kampala has refused, let me go try out something else in Kuwait?
Well, for me, like any other person, you know, who has plans, you
Yeah.
know. Yes, at some point everyone has plans, you know, in this period of time. I want to, you know, have achieved something. I want to have, you know, done this and that. So that was what was in my mind before. But yes, much as, you know, some of those things were accomplished, I must say it is what I expected is actually not what I got.
Yeah.
Actually, what I wanted to get turned out to be, I think I would say, okay, I wouldn't say useless, but I would say more less valuable than you know, what I got. When I say that, I mean the exposure,
Yeah.
you know, and also the knowledge, and getting to, you know, relate with people, with, you know, coffee drinkers.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a very good friend of mine here, Amon, and he understands when I say that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We'll take a short break right now and then come back with more of your story. Stay tuned to House of Talent Television. This is the Coffee Break. Welcome back from that break. We wanted to give you guys a chance to get a cup of coffee, and we believe that since you have gotten that cup of coffee, it's time for us to get back into it. Before we went into the break, Derek was telling us his experience when he was still in Kampala and why he decided to move to Kuwait for 2 years. But throwing over to Amon, okay?
Yeah.
Just like him, you're a barrister, and I think at a certain point, you sit maybe at home, you sit, you know, at the coffee shop and think, you know what, might be about that time to leave Uganda, okay? If there was any country that you would leave Uganda for, you know, in relation to being a barrister, which country would it be?
That's a hard one. Because I might mention that country, and unfortunately I don't go there because...
you should have some faith.
Like, I mean, like, if I wanted to go to a certain country, as I was watching this, I'm like, but you said you want to go to this country only. But anyway, Emma was, Derek was speaking about the experience. He said that the experience he had in Kuwait, it did not match his expectations, you know? So it kind of motivated me. I'm like, all guys who go there, I think they have that A-game life, you know? They have their lives exposed, getting things done. And now when I hear that,
you get a bit demotivated.
Well, I think coffee is passion, yes, and coffee is art. But I think I would rather say coffee is love. It is love. So when, I don't know if this is, okay, but when God created man, you know, he created and said, he created something good. He created something out of his own. He created us out of his own. So basically, you cannot create something bad.
You can't create something bad.
To create something, that means you must be driven by something. So to me, one of the things that I really look up to and I was like, oh, guy, I think I wasn't only there for, you know, for that money, but there is something that changed about me. Like, you know, the way I relate with people, the way I talk with people, within, you know, where I was working, and then also with that clear picture and clear view of, you know, coffee in my mind. Yes.
So that's a very interesting perspective that you brought up. I mean, leaving Uganda, okay, was Kuwait the first country in your mind that you knew you had to go to? Because, I mean, there's Dubai, you know, there are other countries in the UAE region that you could have gone to. Why was it Kuwait? And did you have any other option, you know?
Well, to be very honest with you, I didn't have a clear country, you know, that I wanted to go to. As a matter of fact, I think I had about four offers. So that was really, it was a very tough decision for me, because I had an offer in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, I had an offer in Oman, I had an offer in Jordan, and then Kuwait. So, and then I don't know how it happened, but I mean, they all came in, you know, almost in the same period of time. So it was very hard for me to decide. But yes, away from coffee, I am a prayerful guy. I love to pray. So I think God directed me, and then that is where, you know, I had the courage to decide and then leave for Kuwait.
So it was more of like a spiritual thing. God told you, no, this is the way you should go.
Yes, he gave me directives. Yes.
Amon, coming to you, if you had to make a decision, okay, on the countries he has mentioned, I say Dubai, Oman, Kuwait, let's say we can throw the USA inside there. How would you make a decision and say, you know what, I need to go here? Would you get down on your knees and pray, or you say this country has the best coffee and this is where I need to go to?
No, honestly speaking, I haven't been in a position to think that I would prefer going to UAE as a barrister. Because if that was the case, I mean, I would have put something in motion. But I would love to create something here. I would love to have something visible, something tangible down here in Uganda. So I don't think I would prefer going to any other country. I would love it here.
So you'd be more of a homeboy?
I would be more of a homeboy.
I think actually many people in the coffee industry, many baristas should actually think that way, because people always think, you know, the grass is greener on the other side. And when you reach the other side, they have burnt all the grass.
Yes, I mean, if you go abroad, we're speaking about the US, UAE, Italy, Norway, all those drinking countries. They have greater pastures. You're going to get dying. I mean money, you know. But the fact is, how are you going to get that money? First of all, you have to consider things like you're living alone, your family, you're living alone, things that matter to you a lot. You're just giving them up. I'm sure Dave, if he was to be honest with us, it was a difficult situation that took him there.
It was actually, that is one of the most difficult decisions I've had to make in life.
Do you regret it?
Yes. Well, I don't think I really regret it. I don't really regret it. Well, the reason I would give as to why I don't regret is that, well, much as I left my family back home, but it gave me, you know, another picture, you know, of how to relate with people. Because, man, the other countries are very different. The people there are different. Everything is different. The culture, food, everything, totally different from here.
I never heard you tell us about your basis of getting this knowledge. You know, like did you go to a certain school? I mean, where did you get this skill? Because to my knowledge, I think for you to be taken as someone who knows something, to say that maybe let's get Derek to Kuwait, must have shown something. Must have that valuable thing.
He had offers.
Yes, offers were very many. So where did you go? What I mean?
Well, before I was having a little conversation with my friend Emma here, and this is one of the questions he was asking. Well, I think just like I explained before, it started with passion and then the love, you know, that I had for coffee, seeing these people, you know, putting nice cups, and then people telling me about coffee, what it's nice. So I wanted to try it out. But the main thing I think was, actually, I'm just seated to the main man here. This guy was calling you a coffee messiah, and he didn't lie about that. Yes.
You guys are going to.
So I joined a company that I won't mention a name. So I was working as a barman, yes, and then also dabbling as a barista. But the coffees that were made there were really mild. It wasn't that too much because it was just a restaurant and then a backpacker actually. So the coffee was for the breakfast for guests. But I mean I loved, you know, I don't know how and why, but I just loved, you know, operating that coffee machine more than, you know, mixing cocktails and then seeing people fall. So it was very nice.
So can we say that your inspiration was a coffee machine to join coffee?
Well, it wasn't a coffee machine, but I think the main thing was, you know, just like I said earlier on, was, you know, how people, the picture, you know, people used to paint, you know, about coffee. It really drove me very much. Like it I don't know, there is just that, you know, that passion and that love it created in me. And then I just wanted to, you know, to try and well, see how
you finally got it.
Yeah, how it is like. And man, trust me, with that passion and the love, I came to, I joined another company. So from there, from the other company, I joined another one, and then this is where I met, you know, a lot of coffee messiahs, including he himself. And and I just loved how, you know, how he was, you know, handling himself, you know, with that cup of coffee, and then, you know, relating to people, talking to, you know, different people with different, you know, cultures, but then you could see that they were blending because of that, you know, that love thing that I explained before. Excuse me, that coffee, you know, creates in you. So that also, you know, gave me a hype. I was like, oh man, I think I like what this guy does, because I joined as a waiter. Yes, I joined as a waiter, but I had because of this too much passion that I had for it, and then seeing my main guy here, you know, decorating all those nice cups, I was like, okay, I think I need to give it a try.
That was quite a transition. From being a barman to a waiter, then to a barista.
Yeah.
That's quite a profile.
Yeah, it's a very good profile.
Yeah.
Well, Derek, fast forwarding now, you've made your decision, okay? You've chosen Kuwait out of all the other options you had.
Yes.
Just run us through your first week or your first month in Kuwait, because I believe that must have been a cultural shock. You know, jumping from Uganda all the way to Kuwait. Okay, you're used to working in, let's say, the coffee shops here, and now I believe it's more commercialized in Kuwait, I believe. Okay, and you have to get into that environment. Okay, how was that first experience for you in Kuwait?
It was a nightmare. Allow me, if I could say. Well, it was something tough. It was something tough to do because basically everything was new. I was just, you know, it is like introducing new food to, you know, to a toddler. It is very difficult. So you have a lot of work to do. You know, a lot to do with, you know, learning how to talk to those people. You know, learning how to relate with them, because yes, we are one people. Yes, but we have different cultures. Remember, so the other guys have their own cultures. That, you know, we do not have here in Uganda, and we don't even never think they will ever come here. You know, it's things to do like I want well, a hot and then iced espresso. That was I was very confused. I was very
hot
confused
and cold.
on hot and cold.
Cold espresso.
But then yes, that is what he wanted. It was really very hard for me. And then the other thing also is, I think I'll talk about the weather. Yes, it was really very very tough. Because I think I got there in March, and usually March 2019. So usually during that month the winter is still on, and if it's cold the other side, it is really cold. If it's hot, it is extremely hot. So there is nothing that you wish, you know,
to have.
Let it come. I want to have winter or summer. It is very difficult. And then the other thing also is I think about food. Yes, it took me some time to get used, you know, to the other side, because most of the foods there are not really fresh, as you know, it is a desert country. So everything, like most of the foods, are actually packed. So you have to get used to, you know, to those. That's a very it's a weird experience, because I know going out of the country and, you know, trying to get into a new culture is a very hard thing. But I'll throw this to you. You are a barista, and before you became what you are now, I believe that you had
What am I now? I was a barista.
You're Messiah.
Now you're Messiah, senior one.
Acquired another title.
Yeah, well, I believe that you also had your first experience, not really out of Uganda, since you want to stay here, in a coffee shop. Okay, how was that first experience for you? Was it a nightmare, or for it was like, man, this is just something I do on a daily?
Man, the first experience when I remember that day. It was a Saturday. I can't remember. I can't forget that day. So all these guys got sick. I was just training on station. You know, when you're done with school, the barista school, it's not like having that real experience of handling maybe a shift or a station at work. So unfortunately, all these guys got sick. So I was the only guy who was there to run that station. My bosses were like, you know what? We have no option. And those days, Saturdays, we were busy at work. Oh my God. So you'd get orders come through. Morning, I mean, people taking coffee in the morning, lining up on your counter. I'm like, now I'm dead. So I get to work. The first order I got that morning was a cappuccino shake. I'm like, how am I going to do this? How can a cappuccino be a shake? So I had to ask servers around. You know, that's one thing, by the way, about being a barista. You have to accept that maybe something that I don't know, someone knows it. So you have to seek out for help, because these people are working with you and they know some things. Given the fact that they go to clients, take orders, come they explain to you the orders.
Yeah.
So they might not be knowing them like practically, but at least they have an idea. So as a person, if they give you an idea, you know how you can play around with it. So with my customer experience, the guy asked for a cappuccino shake. I don't know what I can put in a cappuccino shake until I called my head barista that day. After like 20 minutes of struggling, my friend, shaking. So the head barista told me, no, a cappuccino shake is just simple. Just get ice cream, get your espresso, blend, and that's a cappuccino shake. Just the name confused me totally. So that was my worst experience during my first days as a barista.
There's a saying that, we learn through going through times that are hard.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone has that time when they throw you to swim with the sharks, and for you it was everyone got sick and they threw you in the deep end and said what, swim. And for Derek it was more of like a culture shock. You get to Kuwait and you're looking at everything and you're like, okay, good, I asked you to bring me here and this is what it is. But we basically learn through those experiences. Now Derek, let's keep talking about Kuwait. Okay, yes. You've gotten there. Your first week and your first month have been hell for you. Okay, but now you're starting to get into the vibe of things. Yes. Communicating with your workmates, with the different people, and a country like Kuwait, there's always going to be a language barrier. True. Okay, it's not like Uganda here where you can switch between Luganda, English, any other language you can switch here and there, but how did you manage, with not only the cultural shock, but also now the language barrier? Because as a barista, your job is not only to make coffee.
True.
You have a job to have that interpersonal relationship, basically, with different people. Okay, so how did you handle that kind of situation?
Well, at first it was hard for me.
Yeah.
It was really hard because I didn't have any word. It was a tough one. But with time, because those people, when they're talking, you could actually think they're angry, they're off or something like that. So it was really very hard for me. Yeah. But as time went on, I started, understanding them. Or when he says, this, so he means he wants to get this. Yeah. So slowly, not like speaking, but getting to know what they want. And then, there are common words that, just like you walk in a cafe here in Uganda and you're like, hey, give me a coffee, give me a latte, cappuccino, espresso. So it is like, the conversation is, a little bit direct and also minimized, on my side because I didn't know a lot of Arabic. Yeah.
That's interesting. I like how you brought in the aspect of, there are certain keywords that you need to speak when you go to a coffee shop, whether you're speaking what language, there are these keywords. So, as we have two baristas here, okay, let's say I'm a newbie, I've entered a coffee shop for the first time in my life, okay, I'm looking at the menu and it's like reading French, I really don't understand what's on the menu. What are some of these keywords that people should know when they enter a coffee shop?
In Arabic.
No.
I mean, they should like learn different languages and ways of like asking for coffee in a coffee shop.
Oh, so sure. I mean, if you can say it in Arabic, hey, well and good.
I want to know how I ask for coffee.
I know where you're going. So well, it is really when you want to say I want a cappuccino, you say Atna cappuccino. Give me Atna. Wahad. So Wahad stands for one. So Atna Wahad cappuccino. Like give me one cappuccino. Just like that.
I know that.
Atna.
When you said that, I could see his countenance just dropped. He's like, I don't think I'm going to Kuwait anytime soon. Yeah, but still, on the same topic, like I said, I enter, let's say, Endiro for the first time, okay? What are some of these keywords that, for example, if I don't know what a latte is, I don't know what a cappuccino is, I don't know what a French press is, and a barista is saying, do you want a French press, or do you want this kind of press? What are some of these keywords that you can help our viewers with to know from the both of you?
Well, to me, in Uganda right here, actually not even in Uganda, like generally, globally, there are words that you use to ask for a drink when you access the bar station or any barista station. Simple words. You have to be polite. May I please? Can I please? So you have to be down so that the person you're asking for to give you that drink at least feels more respected, and when they feel more respected, they're going to carry that respect to that cup. And once you're enjoying that cup. So for example, if you come to my stationery, may I please get a double cappuccino to go or to dine in? You know, you see how they have constructed that statement compared to, hey, get me a double cappuccino to go. You get that vibe. So even me as a barista, I will feel disrespect. Yes, I'll make it because that's my job. But the way I make the other cup of coffee, whereby someone is a bit polite, is using those keywords, may I please, can I please, get this to go, you know. And also there are those clients that come when they don't know what to say. They know what to have. Maybe they need an Americano or a house coffee or a French press or an AeroPress, but they don't know how to ask for it. So for example, someone might be wanting a house coffee, you know, and they're like, can I please get a single Americano to go or to dine in? Definitely you as a barista, you know that this client doesn't need an Americano, but they need maybe a regular coffee, which is a bit mild, which will be taken as a house coffee. That's why we call it a house coffee. I mean, we've mentioned it before on the show because it's mild and it's made in most of the homes. So that's why it came up with the name house coffee. So the moment that client asks that, you don't need to belittle them. You just have to understand what they want and you give it to them, because they used a certain word or a certain keyword that you as a person understands, but for them they don't understand. So if you want to take an initiative, politely, you just have to inform them that, okay, this is a house coffee, it's not an Americano. So maybe if they're mistaken, they need an Americano, then they will explain to you, no, I need more strong, I need it more strong. So you get to understand them. So that's the conversation you have to keep on having so that you can understand those keywords in a coffee shop.
All right. Derek, before we go for a break, what are some of those types of coffee, that I, as a beginner, should ask for? You know, there are different types. There's a strong, you know, there's a mild. So if I enter and I want to have a good experience, what's the first that I should ask for?
Well, I think a house coffee will do. Because just like you mentioned, it's a very mild coffee. So it doesn't it doesn't have a lot of caffeine in there. So yeah, it's a good one for everybody.
Speaking of caffeine, I think we have a myth, but we're going to go to that after the break. You're watching the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. In the studio with me, the Coffee Messiah, Amon, and Derek Waititi, who came all the way from Kuwait. We'll be having more on the show, so just take some time, get a cup of coffee, and we will be right back. This is House of Talent Television, the Coffee Break Show.
Isma is fixing audio here. Isma is still fixing audio.
Welcome back to the coffee break. We hope you have gotten your cup of coffee. And still speaking about coffee, we're getting into the part of the show where we teach you guys how to make a good cup of coffee. Okay, and this is a tutorial all the way from Kuwait. We have had the Coffee Messiah giving us the Uganda tutorial, but we're getting into a tutorial from Kuwait. So I'll hand it over to Derek to take us through what kind of coffee are we making here right now?
Well, I'm gonna make a French press.
Okay.
It is actually one of my favorite. Yes, and yeah, I think.
Yeah, if you could just walk us through, because I know there's someone there at their home who has their, French press. They have their kettle ready. They have their cup. So just walk us through, from where do we start until we get it into the cup.
Well, of course, the very first thing is you're going to need coffee.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, which I think we have here.
Which I think we have.
Yeah.
Good enough. So, and then you're going to need your French press.
Yeah.
Maker.
Okay.
The coffee itself. I prefer using about 25 grams of coffee, and then about 400, 12 ounces of water, or 400 grams of water, if you can call it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you also need hot water. Yes, really hot. I like making it hot first, because that will really keep my my coffee. It will keep it hot just a little bit. Doesn't really have to. It doesn't have to be that hot. And then I will also heat my cup. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be
that much.
Yeah, that much. So well.
So is it necessary for someone to have like a scale to really measure?
Well, it is not really that necessary.
Yeah.
It depends on how you want it. Yes, because I mean, the more the grams of the coffee, the more
water you need,
stronger it will be.
Yeah.
And then also the less the coffee, that means you're going to have a mild one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would prefer, if you like, you can use it. If you are really that kind of person who wants to, to have your
something
coffee,
precise.
Yes, in a specific way.
Yeah.
So it is, it's a good way to go. But it doesn't really. I mean, you can make it at home without, without a scale. It's very fine. Yeah, and also, I mean, it doesn't really. You don't really need a scale that much, but for the business, and then in the cafes, and then for those people, just like I said, that that want their coffee in a specific way. Yeah, so you really would need it in a coffee, but at home, I don't really think you need it that much. Yeah. So I'll take. So we'll use, this is a coffee. I'll go for, it's like I said, I think I'll go for 25 grams of that.
Yeah. I think Amon is watching and wishing.
I'm learning, my friend.
And waiting, honestly, for the cup of coffee to come out.
This one is a coffee messiah. You can't be a messiah and then
one thing about coffee is
you think of learning something else.
You can never stop learning.
You can never stop learning.
Every day
that's very true.
Something,
yeah, by the way, that is very true.
Yeah. I've actually learned the last time we made a coffee here, we did heat up the press first. But the first thing he did was put some hot water in it and heat it up. Then heated up the cup. So there's always something new to learn. Yeah.
Okay. So why are you doing that?
So I'm doing this because I must have a specific time for my coffee.
Okay.
Yes. And that also gives me a good taste.
And why do you pour in that circular kind of
motion?
That's why.
Well, I'm doing this because I need to, I need all my coffee. I need the coffee, the whole coffee in there to, to brew.
Yeah.
Yes, because if I pour in, some other parts, then I leave others. That means I won't have a balance.
Yeah.
There's something that's called the body of the coffee.
Yeah.
Yes, that is, you could talk of, you could term it as the thickness.
Yeah.
Yes, in a simple language for someone out there.
Yeah.
Yes, I need it to be strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for all our viewers out there, you see the kind of way that he pours the water into the press. It's in a swirling motion, basically. So don't just get your water and pour it there, because you won't really get the best out of the coffee. So there is a way that it should be done.
Okay. So how long does that process take? I mean, from getting your coffee, from maybe a pack of coffee, to measuring, to pouring in water, how long does it have to take for you to get your final cup of coffee?
It will take you about 3 minutes to get a perfect one. Yes.
So this is really something good, like in the morning when I'm, running to work and I don't want to take a lot of time.
Very true.
Making a very serious coffee. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have to,
stir it.
Yeah, stir it a little bit.
Yeah.
Just like I said before, just to make sure that it is well brewed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'll continue with.
So does that amount of water, the ratios of water to coffee affect the taste of coffee?
Yes.
On this exact French press? Or in any other coffee you're making?
Absolutely, it does.
Because now you used 25 grams of coffee?
Yes, I did.
So how much of water do I have to put in that?
Just like I said, it really depends on how you want it.
Okay.
Do you want it strong or
mild?
You want it mild?
Yeah.
Yes. So I think the ratio really depends on how strong you want it and how weak you want it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't wait to have this.
It already looks like a very good cup of coffee.
So
yeah, but
I'm done with this.
Okay.
So what I will do is take off, my coffee.
So we realize that at the bottom of this you have a filter.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I don't have a filter per se, is there any other? Is there anything else that I can use?
Yes, there is something you can use. I think there is you can use a local sieve.
Okay.
The use of the filter on top here is basically to filter, because this is a medium cost coffee.
Yeah.
So it's meaning it has bigger particles, and then we don't want to have them in our coffee.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is why.
Okay.
So you have to gently do it.
Yeah.
Yes. I love doing it gradually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that also improves on the taste of my coffee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like you said, it's an art.
Yes.
There's a kind of gentleness that you have to do it with. I think it's almost the same thing as cooking. The attitude that you bring towards making the coffee, I think, in a way infuses with the coffee. Because if I was angry that morning and made, a cup of coffee, I think that the one I serve it to can actually taste, that kind of attitude that I had while making it. So it's a peaceful process. It's something out of passion and love that really has to go into the coffee.
Yeah, maybe as also Derek is getting ready to serve us with this coffee. You spoke about the coffee myth before we went for a break.
Yeah, I was actually going to get into that. So, like, we have different types of coffee, okay? So people say, okay, this type has caffeine, this type does not have caffeine. The doctor said I take this type. So the myth I talk about today is decaf, okay? People say that decaf has or does not have caffeine, okay? What is your perspective on this? So we need to bust this myth and know whether it has or it does not have what? Caffeine. And if it does, how much caffeine does it have in relation to other kinds of coffee anyways?
Okay, do I go first or you go first?
You can go first.
Okay. I think the message.
Well, I think that's a myth. Because someone coming out and say that I'm taking decaf because it has no caffeine is totally not true.
Yeah.
Because the process of decaffeinating this coffee is like 97% accurate to remove that caffeine, which means you have around 3% of that caffeine. So if you're like taking 8 or 5 to 10 cups of coffee of decaf, that's when you feel the caffeine.
Yeah.
Which means I have to take like 5 or 6, 7, 8 cups a day for me, my body to start feeling that caffeine, compared to taking an 8-ounce cup of coffee, which is caffeinated.
Yeah.
So that's when I will feel the caffeine compared to taking the other decaffeinated coffee. Because most people go to coffee shops and ask, I need decaf because it has no caffeine.
Yeah.
No, that's a myth that we need to debunk from here on the coffee break.
Okay, so
yeah, some decaf has some little caffeine in it, but for you to feel that caffeine, you have to take like 5 to 10 cups of coffee a day. And who takes those cups?
I know you take that much coffee in a day. So Derek, do you have the same perspective as him, or there's something different?
Yeah, I think I won't sound very different from what he mentioned.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
In most cases, actually, most people think ordering for a decaf, you know, I'm going to have my sleep. I'm not going to lose my sleep.
Yeah.
But yes, you will lose some of it. Yes. Well, not everyone that takes coffee loses their sleep.
Yeah.
But you know, just saying, there is caffeine in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is a myth that we have debunked.
Yeah.
There is a certain percentage of caffeine in
decaf.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. As Derek serves us the long-awaited coffee, I know that Messiah can't wait to have it. But we're going to get into our main topic of the day. Basically, Amon has been a barista in Uganda for a while now. You've been a barista in Uganda, and you've been a barista in Kuwait. Okay, and I believe that the two places are really different when it comes to coffee culture, when it comes to commercialization, and all these things. And picking from your experience, okay, what are they doing in Kuwait when it comes to the coffee industry that we are not doing in Uganda? And what are some of these strategies that we can actually pick up from them that will improve our coffee industry here? Yeah.
It is business. To be straight to the point, I think in the other side, it is basically about business. Yes, even down here. I mean, of course, the main point of someone making a business is, you know, to generate some income. Yes, but I think the main point, the other side, you know, of cafes, is making money. So that kind of like, you know, shifts them, you know, these coffee owners, you know, shifts them from making, you know, good coffee for the people, because also I want us to understand that the other side, true coffee drinkers are really very few. Yes, they're very few, to be honest with you. I mean, they prefer, you know, basically a well-decorated, you know, cup, and then I will take my picture and then, you know, post on my Snapchat, on Instagram. I think, but yes, there are also some coffee drinkers, you know, some really good coffee drinkers that, you know, they will walk to you and then he will give you, you know, an order, and you'll be like, okay, I think this guy knows coffee, and then, you know, I'll have to make him my best. So I think it's more of business, the other side, more than it is right here. Yes, here it is business, but I think most of the coffee owners, cafe owners here also care very much about the coffee that they want to serve to their clients. Also depending on the fact that, you know, we get our own coffee. I mean, it's not like the other side, because we do farm it here. We plant it ourselves, and then we, you know, we handle it ourselves, you know, and with care that it has, with the help of you know, coffee professionals, because I don't think, you know, cafe owners, you know, have the time to. Yes, some of them have, you know, that they go and then touch down to farms, and then, you know, get to tell, you know, the harvesters, this is the kind of coffee I need, which is not the other side, you know. So that is really different. That yes, much as it is a business here in Uganda, but also most cafes right here care much, yes, about the coffee that they serve. And if you agree with me, Uganda lately is improving, you know, as much as, you know, coffee consumption is concerned, it is really improving, and that's very good.
You know, like what you said, here I was thinking that, you know, we should pick a leaf from Kuwait and, you know, try and put these strategies here, but I think it's kind of reversed now. Kuwait should actually pick a leaf from us and do some of the things we're doing. Over to Amon, we're talking about now commercialization. Basically, I believe that the business of coffee in Kuwait is better than in Uganda because of certain strategies that they do. Okay, the coffee culture really it's catching up in Uganda. Okay, and one side, yes, you have the passion, you know, to serve people good coffee, but on the other side, you have to stay afloat as a business. Okay, so what are some of those strategies that you think, okay, as a barista working in a coffee shop, that the CEOs or the government, you know, at large should do to improve the commercial side of coffee, you know, to a point whereby a barista can say, you know what, I'm going to become a full-time barista. This is my job. This is the money I'm making from here. So what are some of those strategies that can really boost the commercialization of coffee in Uganda?
Saturation around coffee shops, and also that is in the farm. How are we going to make sure that it's being promoted well? So that it gets the market that it wants? Because if it has the market, it means it's a good quality coffee. If it doesn't have the market, then it means that maybe something somewhere it's wrong. So I think the farmers, the farmers, the baristas, the coffee roasters, the coffee exporters, okay, the people who are in the coffee business have to find out how are they going to maintain the good quality of coffee and find its saturation around the world. So that's how I think we shall have to manage to keep our coffee above there.
Okay. Speak about that. I believe that there's also a missing link, okay, that we have to talk about. Basically, both of you had to go through a system of learning about coffee, okay, of learning how to become a barista. With anything else, you know, there's an education that you have to get to make you better doing something, okay? And of late, there are very many schools that are coming up basically to teach about the coffee business, to teach about different aspects like roasting and farming and all these things. How relevant, Derek, do you think these schools are? And do you think that they are teaching and giving the right information to baristas, to coffee roasters? And if so, is there a bright future, you know, that the coffee industry has because of these schools that are coming up?
Well, I think some of them, yes, some of them are doing a really good job. Yes, but to be very honest, some of them I think are only about, you know, I want to make some money, and, you know, I've got some, you know, little skills, and then yes, I want to acquire some money out of that. But yes, I appreciate all those that are doing, that are going, you know, back, you know, researching, making research, you know, about the background of coffee, you know, how it's handled, you know, from the seed itself to the ground, and then, you know, from the ground to the roastery, and then from there to the cup. Yes, some of them are doing a good job, and then, you know, they're trying to invest, you know, with making a lot of research and also approaching coffee merchants, you know. Yeah, and I think that is a really good one, and I think it's a bright future. Yes, it's a bright future if well handled.
I believe that Uganda is on the right track, okay,
it is.
To getting to that place where the coffee industry needs to be. So we are running out of time. We're getting to that point whereby the show has to come to a close. But before we do that, our coffee has been brewing for a while, and I think that, you know, it's about the time for us to partake of it. I know the Messiah can't wait to analyze what kind of coffee you have made. So, Amon, what are your expectations?
Well,
Since you seem to be a senior in this.
Well, I think it's a nice coffee because for the fact that a French press to be well brewed to give you that nice cup of coffee, it has to sit for almost 45 minutes. I mean, it has sat
I think
for over
it's been
60 minutes.
about that time, yeah?
We expect good results out of this coffee.
All right.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have been on the coffee break with Amon, the coffee messiah, and Derek Waititi, who came all the way from Kuwait. Is pouring our coffee that has been brewing for the last 6 minutes. We believe that for those of you who took time to really get the tutorial, to get the different steps of making this coffee, I believe that what you have brewed is a really good cup of coffee. And right now, as we receive the coffee in our hands and partake of it, we just want to tell you guys that thank you very much for taking your time to be with us here on the coffee break on House of Talent Television. And remember, we are also online. You can catch us on our website at House of Talent Television Uganda. You can catch us on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. Remember that you can always, drop us a comment, drop us a question. If there is someone you want to see, on the show, let us know who they are, their name. If there are certain aspects that you think the show should have, let us know. You can always send us a message. And I believe that all of us at House of Talent Television, me, Amon, and whichever guests come here, we'll be able to help you with all those questions. Well, guys, it has been a very good show. I have learned a lot. Derek, thank you very much for honoring us and gracing us with your presence. I believe that it is not really the last time that you'll be here.
Please.
Yes, and Amon Messiah, we believe that you're going to keep converting many more people.
You guys have really given me that name, eh?
Coffee Messiah.
Coffee Messiah. I think it's something he should embrace.
You'll have to start with you to convert you.
It comes a lot of.
He converted me, so.
I mean, it comes with a lot of pressure, eh?
Yeah, I do know it comes with a lot of pressure, but thank you very much for having us in your living room, on your phone, wherever you watch this from, whichever part of the world. Have a good morning, have a good evening, or have a good night. And remember, always have a good cup of coffee. Thank you for watching the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television.
Welcome to this week's program of Doa Doa, and our speaker this week is Bill Braggin from NYU Abu Dhabi.
Hi, I'm Bill Braggin. I'm the Executive Artistic Director of the Art Center at NYU Abu Dhabi. I have been here for 6.5 years, leading the founding of the Art Center. Prior to that, I've been a New Yorker my whole life. I came immediately from Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts, where I was the Director of Public Programming. Prior to that, I was at Joe's Pub at the Public Theater, at Symphony Space, at Central Park Summer Stage, and spent a lot of my time presenting multidisciplinary work from all over the world. I'm also a co-founder of Global Fest, which is a festival that takes place every January, tied into the APAP conference. The university, NYU Abu Dhabi, is part of what NYU calls the Global Network University. The idea is that there are 3 hub campuses in New York, Shanghai, and Abu Dhabi that are full 4-year universities. Each has their own identity. And then there are also 11 other study abroad sites where the students are studying all over the world. NYU Abu Dhabi is celebrating its 10th anniversary. It's primarily a liberal arts college with an orientation towards research as well. There are about 1,500 students who come from all over the world. So our students come from about 115 different countries. There's no dominant majority. So a big point of the university is to create this international cohort of really exceptional students and future global leaders, as they like to say. The campus is on an island called Saadiyat Island. It's about 15 minutes from downtown, which has been designated as the cultural district for the UAE. So we're just down the road from the Louvre Abu Dhabi and from Berkeley Abu Dhabi and the future Sheikh Zayed National Museum and the future Guggenheim. And that has been in place for about 6 years. And so the Art Center really started once the campus moved from downtown in a temporary location to Saadiyat. We have 3 primary venues. We've got a 685-seat proscenium flyhouse. It's one of the finest venues in the country. That's the Red Theater. We've got a black box, which we refer to as sort of our laboratory for performance, flexible space, 300 standing, about 225 as a thrust theater, about a 165 head-on. And we really reconfigure it almost every time. A lot of artists, both professional artists as well as student artists and faculty, all create a lot of work in there. We've got the Blue Hall, which is a 150-seat recital hall where we do concerts as well as film series. And then we also present outdoor performances on the plaza in front, as well as site-specific performances. Within the Art Center, it also houses all of the academic programs for the arts. So there's film and new media, theater, music, visual arts, and interactive media. And there are a lot of studios and maker spaces. So what's interesting is we're bringing multiple disciplines and maker spaces and learning spaces all under one roof. The Art Center's role is to take part in all of those activities. So we are presenting professional work from artists from all over the world. We are developing work both with the students and faculty as well as UAE-based artists, and we're really integrating everything that we do within the curriculum of the university. But roughly in pre-COVID times, roughly 80 to 85% of our audiences actually come from the general public. So we really are a public resource for all of the UAE. So the question that I always have when putting together our season for the Art Center is, why here? Why is it relevant? How does it connect to the UAE? The UAE is incredibly international. As international as the student body is, the country at large is even more international. There are people here from about 200 different countries. The Emirati national population is somewhere between 12 and 20%, depending on where you're looking. So international content is always really important. And also there are a lot of people here who don't necessarily have a lot of past history with traditional performing arts. And so the question is, Why would someone who's never been to a theater play before, why would somebody who's never been to a contemporary dance performance be interested in the work? What conversations is it going to open? And I'm looking both at the conversations that it might open with the city at large, the community at large, as well as how it integrates with conversations that are happening on campus. So a lot of the work is looking at issues of the environment and climate change, or global migration, or gender issues, or sometimes we are looking at formal issues, artists who are kind of pushing art forms forward, and we're looking at that as well, because we are in part also planting seeds to help to contribute to the larger cultural economy of the UAE. We have certain perennial events, Rooftop Rhythms, which is a spoken word open mic, has been going on. It actually existed before we even arrived, but we adopted it and have really helped to grow it, and giving a voice to local artists, both who are hitting the stage for the first time, as well as people who are quite accomplished published authors. We've got the Barsakh Festival, which would be recognized as a quote unquote world music festival, as problematic as that phrase can be. We have Hakaya, which is a National Day event that celebrates history and tradition for UAE National Day, but it is also designed to represent the transnational nature of the UAE. And that happens every year, right at the end of November, beginning of December, primarily poetry and spoken word, as well as some music. And then lots of programs that really run the gamut of disciplines with a personal interest. For me is hybrid work that is not easily categorized, that might be music with a directed video. It might be a durational performance in a human-sized aquarium with 12 tons of water used as a way to open up a conversation about global warming and rising water levels. Might be site-specific dance, but we're really often looking at artists who are mixing disciplines and mixing cultural traditions. The traditional performing arts sector in the UAE is fairly new, but like all places, there's a very deep and long history of the arts. In terms of performance traditions, the most valued tradition is poetry, and there's a traditional Bedouin form of poetry called Nabati, which is really valued. Because poetry is so important, that's one of the reasons why Rooftop Rhythms, the spoken word open mic, was created. Although it is in more of a Western slam poetry mode, the idea is really to connect to that tradition, and that is where a lot of young Emiratis are actually really kind of engaging in this contemporary performance. It also, of course, the poetic tradition really leads to theater, and we're doing a lot of work now to commission work by theater artists who might have their roots in poetry and spoken word. On the musical side, in addition to the Bedouin desert traditions, there's a long history of pearl diving music. All the expeditions that would go out to dive for pearls, a tradition that ended more or less in the late 20s, had a song leader that was an essential part of the expedition. And those traditions really brought together influences from the Gulf with influences from East Africa as well as from India. And there are artists like Boom Dewan who are working now to update those traditions and mix it with jazz. In terms of dance, there are traditional forms like Ayala and Liwa that are brought out at celebrations like weddings, at official government events, and so on. I think the important thing is also, though, being that the local population is only between 12 and 20%, with a population that comes from 200 different countries, all of those different art forms are also the art forms of the UAE. It's a very cosmopolitan place. So whether it's oud music from the Levant, whether it's jazz, whether it's EDM, whether it's Afrobeats, all of those styles are there. There's a contemporary dance scene that's just starting to grow. So really the arts in the UAE are extremely varied. We primarily present using a residency model. We're not on a very typical touring circuit. So when artists come here, they're generally coming here for about a week, sometimes much longer, sometimes maybe a few days shorter. And over the course of the week, they're participating on a number of different levels. So they're doing public performances is often the center of that. We're also doing invited performances. We work a lot with local schools, both government and private schools, whether it's elementary or high schools. We also work with other universities. We might have an open rehearsal because we're also commissioning work and having it developed sometimes on campus. We want to open up that process to the public. So we do that as well. And then the artists are also visiting the classes and being integrated into the curriculum of the university. They are doing workshops and sharing technique, whether it's a dance class or an acting class or so on. We're also working closely with our Career Development Center and with our art gallery to do a series of career chats, arts chats that are designed to not only build the skills, but also help people to think about how they can turn participation in the arts into their profession. So we're really looking to integrate people on a lot of different levels. We also really want to make sure that they get to know the community. It's not just a tour stop. Many of the international artists are coming to the UAE for the first time. And so we want them to come away really with a sense of the richness that is NYU Abu Dhabi and that is the UAE as a whole. And we want people from the community to have a chance to meet the artists outside of the context of their performance so that they can really meet on a human level. So we do community building events. For example, we have a dinner with every single artist who's here where we invite students and faculty and staff, other people from the community, that we curate almost like a dinner salon where we really want to just find some people who can get to know one another with the arts at the center of the conversation. Once we're putting together a season, we are looking all over the world. We're looking to create a diverse season of programs throughout kind of every year. In typical times when the world is a little bit more predictable, we're planning anywhere from 6 to 18 months in advance. And we're really looking at a global array of artists who are working in every conceivable discipline. We've had a lot of artists from East Africa. Actually, I'm recording this on the day that was the anniversary of a show in our pilot season with Just a Band from Kenya. It was our sort of pre-opening event where we were just sort of experimenting with what do all of these residency activities look and feel right. And they were in a lot of different classes. They also pulled together members of the community who joined them on stage for the show. And it also allowed us to really bridge to the Kenyan community in both Abu Dhabi and Dubai and really get a sense of the conversation that goes back and forth. And that was 6 years ago. That was really one of the events that helped us to figure out the role that the Art Center could play in the community. Beyond that, over the years, we've had the Nile Project, which is a multinational project with artists from all over East Africa. That was originally founded by Maklita Darrow and Mina Girgis. We've had from Ethiopia, Fendika collaborating with the Dutch post-punk band, The X. We've had Dow Country's Music Academy doing a concert of Taarab music from Zanzibar. We opened the season a few years ago with Circus Abyssinia, and we've been working a lot with Boom Diwan, which is a group that mixes pearl diving music and jazz. It's based primarily between Kuwait and the UAE, but I think really speaks to the historic connections between East Africa and the Gulf. And I think that's one of the things that's really important. Historically, there are so many ties between this region and between the countries of East Africa, both on a heritage and kind of and deep historical level, but also on a contemporary basis as well. There's a huge East African community or multiple East African communities in the UAE. And so when we are looking to do international programming, we're both looking at how we can connect with the local communities of origin for the artist, as well as the fact that we are in a place that's gotten a dominant majority and that people are really open to discover work from cultures outside of their own. I just want to thank you for inviting me to introduce the work of the Art Center at NYU Abu Dhabi to you. We are all over social media. You can find our website is NYUAD-Art Center, spelled the US way, CENTER.org. We are also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at NYUAD Art Center. On our YouTube channel, we also have a lot of performances from our archives. We also have our career chats and some of the workshops from our Off the Stage series. Rooftop Rhythms or Open Mic is there. So if you really want to understand and get to know better what the Art Center is about and what our approach is, I encourage you to look at that, look at some of the mini documentaries that we've created around pieces that we've commissioned. And then we look forward to meeting a bunch of new artists from East Africa. Thanks so much.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Doa Doa 2021, the virtual docu-series. As you've heard from the speaker, now we are going to get to know the artist. The artist in focus this week is Abdul, aka Abu Danger. Enjoy.
My name is Abdul Chinyenya Muyingo, also known as Abu Danger, a movement artist, a creative, who happens to be the founder of Batalo East, an arts organization that deals with having young Africans and artists who are aware of their identity and their cultures. Also one of the co-founders of Taboo Flow Dance Company, and one of the dancers and choreographers who has been dancing for about 17 years now.
They fight their hazardous way through a vast land of mystery and excitement in their that rests in King Solomon's mind.
My dance journey has been very interesting because, you know, the school's competition, and I happened to be forced to be one of the people that represents one of our houses because I didn't want to do it. I was more into swimming and football. But again, when I went into the dance class, or what was, you know, being selected, it so happened that the person, the trainer that selected us, really thought that I had a lot of talent, and I didn't really think I did. But when I did, then I ended up meeting some people there. One of my friends called Hakim, who later we started with Taboo Flow and later Breakdance Project Uganda with other people. He had this book that had, his parents were living in the US, that had images of dancers popping, I remember windmill, And these are things we used to look at. They were just images, but as a young person, these images were stronger because they said something that we wanted to try. We were the people that believed that you can spin on your head. As a person, every time I wake up and I realize that this is the path I chose, being a movement artist, I realize the value of what our great-grandparents created and what we really are into creating at the moment. And I see the link between what our great-great-parents created, all the traditional dances. For example, when you look at Uganda, which has over 80 traditional dances, and you look at the modern times where you look at young people who are trying to copy and trying to be like other people. So that missing link really keeps me going as an artist, and it makes me create. And also the idea of using dance to talk about things that really matter in our community. Gone are the days where dance is just about shaking your body and showing off your body. It is about what message can you portray, what story can you tell with your body? Because we all know that movement don't lie. The dance, the body movement don't lie. They tell you the honest truth. And this is what really keeps me going as an artist, as a dancer, and also to be able to inspire young other people who don't believe that dance can be a career. As a person, really, when you go deep into my artistic expression, especially with movement, you realize it has something to do with my experiences. And my experiences are, I've been doing so many traditional dances from Uganda, but I've also been exposed to hip-hop dances, many of the hip-hop dances and break dance. But also, as I grow, I've realized there's a contemporary expression to what we're doing. So the fusion and the mix of those different styles is something that really becomes my expression in terms of dance style. So right now, I can't tell you that I do a specific dance style because I'll be lying to you. What it is an expression, and what my focus is to evoke feeling from the person that is watching me. And for me, that is my style. Right now, I'm working on a lot of environmental related issues because growing up in a city like Kampala, it's a city that could be really, really beautiful, but it's a city that beyond just the normal, the roads that you see, behind the markets, it's disgusting. And this really puts me in the mood of creativity. How can I use my voice? How can I use my movement to really express feeling, but also to communicate something? And this creative process starts in a way that I look at this situation and I am already thinking about it. Every time I meet somebody, I'm like, what can I do? What is this? And then, of course, if I have to put it on stage, that's a different direction. I need to prepare. I need to see, am I going to do it alone? Do I need backup people that can support me if I'm taking it to a theater? But these days, we're using a lot of course, internet, social media. So you're thinking, I need to work with a team of videographers, very well-trained videographers to express this. Then you meet them, you tell them your idea, but then there's a lot of changes. So it is a process that I believe doesn't involve you as a person, because I don't believe that as artists, you stand by yourself. What you see outside is a combination of different people. My spiritual take or spiritual belief is that I believe in spirituality, but it depends on how you interpret it. My interpretation is that I'm not talking about religion here. I'm talking about the belief in, and I'll use the version of an artist, the version of imagination. Because whether you are seeing yourself in your own image or in somebody else's image or whatever, or God's image, the power of imagination for me is the spiritual being. And for me, that is very important, because then that brings creation. So as humans, we have power to create because of the spiritual being that gives us imagination. That could be a combination of things that are out of my control, but I take what I can eat, which is the idea that I have the power to imagine something and create it. And for me, that's spiritual. Who would I collaborate with in this world? I'm a person that really believes in collaborations, and I've written a lot of things about collaboration because I believe that collaboration is the imperfect hunt. It is a process that really can stress you completely, but it's also a process that can be beautiful if the person you're collaborating or the group you're collaborating with is you have the same spirit. Now that you put me in that spiritual realm. I don't really have a specific person right now that I think about collaborating with, but I'm the person who believes that even outside here I can move out and then meet somebody and I want to collaborate with them. And that's my take. I'm not that kind of person that sees somebody and I imagine this is the person I'm going to collaborate. I need to first find a reason within me. Why would I collaborate? Even if it's whoever. And I'm happy I can always collaborate with even people that are not living right now. In another way, for example, if I decide to collaborate with Michael Jackson in my imagination, I think I have the power to really pick inspiration, because that is also collaboration in a certain way. It doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to be in the physical being, but I have to have reason, and that for me, that's the reason that I can find anywhere. I can find a street kid, I can find a superstar. It doesn't really matter. It's just the moment and the reason why. With Doa Doa participation, I think my favorite was Ginger, for obvious reasons. I remember we collaborated with Santuri Safari, and I think one of the people I work with, Faizo Mostrix, we started the journey, I remember, from having a collaboration with the Isas, DJ from the UK, I remember, and the venue was Ginger. I don't think I have a least favorite. We've been to the museum. I've been to the museum. Of course, I think it is okay, but it is more about the program than the venue for me. Of course, Ginger is unique, and I'm biased, and I'll be honest, because I'm born in Ginger. Doesn't mean that I'm from there, but I was just born there. So I'm biased. So Ginger is my favorite. Internationally, I would like it to be at the Times Square in New York, and I think Faizo can make that happen. No, but to be honest, if it could be in a place where there is so much traffic for art, like New York, and I think we are having, at this level, we are having conversations where we are looking at a global market. We're not looking at just the Ugandan market. As an artist, I mostly perform outside of Uganda. And I think New York is not one of the places it's one of the places that people should be looking at in terms of venues, in terms of theaters. And also, us as Ugandans, we should be also looking at that, because we've done it in Uganda. Why not take it there and have it on that level? But also, one other interesting venue could be somewhere in Asia, because there's so much cut-off in terms of creative artists, cut off from Asia. It's more business, China, all that. And I don't know, China, somewhere, Tokyo or something. It could be interesting to see how that blend can work. If I'm to open for an artist, the thing though is I see myself as an artist, so I'll open for myself because I believe that most of the times dance is being put in the background. And I think it's gone are the days when dance is the background. When you look at social media, most of the things that are trending is dance. So even on these physical platforms, dance should take the forefront. So I would open for Taboo Flow, for example, one of those crews that I believe has an international status. Well, there's so much coming up for Abdul. At the moment, one of the things that is exciting, we're working on a performance that I believe is going to be one of those great performances out of Uganda. And I'm collaborating with an artist called John Z.D. who is a resident artist at the Sadler's Wells Theatre that's in London, one of the biggest theatres. And we're going to create a performance with East African dancers that is going to go on tour. That should happen in August, I think a few months from now. Of course, because of the situation, there are things that have been postponed. So that's something that is exciting. It's a performance about identity, about what people call Afrofuturism, what our imagination would be without the colonialists, what really, who we are according to us, not according to what people think. And we express that through art. Of course, there are other things that, as a person, I happen to work with a lot of other people, and Batalo East, which also has so many things coming up. Yeah, so there are so many classes, there's so many festivals that we're planning. We're not, this situation is not really stopping us. It just gave us a reset button. And to be honest, that reset button was needed because we pressed it and we saw how things are rolling back again. So we are now on to the next 10 years. We've hit the 20 years, now we are on to what's next, the 10 years. Well, right now, where you can find Abdul's work is on social media, and I use Abdul, Abdenja, Chinyenya on all social media platforms, and also through some of the groups' works like the Tabu Flow. You can also check Tabu Flow on all social media platforms. Then, of course, I have a Vimeo account, YouTube account. You can find my works there, and you can hit me up directly, yeah? Ready for collaborations and ready to push to the next. This is Abdul, and you're watching Doa Doa 2021 virtual version. Please subscribe, and please share in your networks. Share Ugandan art, share everywhere. Share. Peace out.
Thank you so much for joining this week's show, Doa Doa 2021. I hope you had some fun and got some inspiration. If you have any comment, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave your comment, or our Facebook page, Twitter, or Instagram. We'll definitely get back to you. We are very grateful, and until next week, I remain your host, Faizo Kiwewa from Bayimba and the Doa Doa team. Keep it Doa Doa 2021.
You see, I think there's been a lot of growth and transformation. I appreciate the work national IT authority is doing, and also, of course, they come up with policies that people are supposed to comply with. You know, when it comes to IT with cyber security, like I said, we have a layer of compliance and governance. Yeah. Whereby government will come up with policies and say, okay, we need you, each and every person should have at least a basic thing, which is antivirus on their devices. Because at the national level, they have what we call cyber threat intelligence, whereby I think UCC has a solution. Because I remember I was involved in that tender for procurement of a cyber threat intelligence solution, whereby we could be able to identify this is a new attack, it's coming from Russia, it's attacking our bank here, then they could be able to block that traffic at a national level. Okay. Well, the government is doing something. But then also, as individuals, like I said, we need to also be vigilant. Yeah. Because the government will not be able to understand which new VPN client has come up, or which new VPN solution has come up, probably because they will not know. Yeah. But for you, go ahead and download it and install it on your device. And then you try transacting. You actually go to, then you say, oh, I've stolen money from my account. Oh, my information was stolen. Oh, I see nodes on social media. People steal nodes from people's devices, and actually they ask for a pay. Yeah. Someone says, if you don't give me $100,000, I'm going to publish your nonsense on the cyberspace. You know, so people need to be vigilant. But of course, the government is also doing something.
That's when I started learning that, this is how coffee is. But why is it that we produce coffee here and just sell it when we don't take it here, we don't consume it here? So one time when I had just started my training here, I went back to Uganda. And then I went to a hotel a very established hotel. I will not mention its name. Then I wanted to see if I have people that know about coffee in hotels, because I knew maybe probably big hotels serve coffee. So to my dismay is that I introduced myself as a barista, and everybody was like, "What's a barista?" So I said, a barista is a specialist that makes coffee, a person who makes coffee for people to, coffee like, cappuccino, different kinds of, coffees, and people were like very green. I said, this is a big hotel. I expected to find here a coffee machine, and nobody knows about it. So it's, I think, incumbent of us to really transform this entire community, the entire country, to coffee, to learn about coffee, and also to give them the advantages of coffee, teach them about coffee, and then later on they maybe consume it, rather than just selling it.
I'm dreaming of a world full of happiness, where no one kills, no one argues, or no violence, and where we all live in harmony. We all celebrate all the things that we have with our families and each other.
I know we could live in a much better world indeed, where there be no healing of one another, loving and living free and deep. Can you imagine a world full of peace, love and joy, where every boy, girl, woman and man live in harmony? That's what we need in this world. There is no need to fight. You and I are one. Let us get together now, and there will be a better place for us. Let us spread some love. Let us spread some love. There is no need to fight. You and I are one. Let us get together now, and there will be a better place for you. It is so refreshing where we sit down and solve our differences. We don't need to fight a war. We don't have to lose another life at all. We can work it out. We can get it right this time. Can you imagine a world full of peace, love and joy, where every boy, girl, woman and man live in harmony? That's what we need in this world. Let us spread some love. There's no need to fight. You and I are one. Let us get together now, and there will be a better place for you. Let us spread some love. Let us spread some love. Let us spread some love. There is no need to fight. You and I are one. Let us get together now, and there will be a better place for you. Loving one another, that's how it should be. That is how it should be. Let us spread love.
Let us spread love, fly like a dove, be free for a time. Remember this rhyme, we're here for all, beyond the cool. Do we need to scream? Let our death beam. Let us stand and shout, cause that's what we're all about. Let there be hope and joy, so we don't destroy. We'll fly like a dove,
They projected the image of Africa negatively. They projected Africa always in a negative light. Jungles, savages, cannibals, nothing civilized. And naturally, it was so negative until it was negative to you and me. And you and I began to hate it. We didn't want anybody to tell us anything about Africa, and much less call us an African. And in hating Africa and hating the African, we ended up even hating ourselves without even realizing it. Because you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. You can't hate your origin and not end up hating yourself. You can't hate Africa and not hate yourself.
Africa, I love you daily. My home, I think about you every day. Africa, I love you daily. My home, I think about you every day. You're so beautiful, Mama land. Fertile, glorious, sweet Africa. Flora and fauna is delicate. The oil and gold is tempting. Flora and fauna is delicate. The oil and gold is tempting.
Rise up, Africa. I love you. Viva Africa. We love you. Rise up, Africa. I love you. Viva Africa. We love you.
Africa, I love you daily. My home, I think about you every day. You're so beautiful, Mama land. Fertile, glorious, sweet Africa. Flora and fauna is delicate. Oil and gold is tempting. Flora and fauna is delicate. The oil and gold is tempting.
Rise up, Africa. I love you. Viva Africa. We love you. Rise up, Africa. I love you. Viva Africa. We love you.
Arusha, Tanzania, Kigali na Goma. Welcome to Africa, shining bright like a diamond, standing up your pyramid, shining bright like a diamond, standing up your pyramid. The sun is always out, the Nile flows so deep. There is no place like Africa. I am born in Africa.
Rise up, Africa. I love you. Viva Africa. We love you. Rise up, Africa. I love you. Viva Africa. We love you. Rise up,
it's a CEO bench, so usually people want to assume that all CEOs are over-learned and stuff like that. So I will change the script this time around. I consider myself a certified hustler.
If I'm looking to know who you are you Ugandan? If yes, what are the values that define you as Ugandan?
That's the easiest question, I think, to answer. I am a typical Lao man from a Rute North, in a place called Ogur, and where I will be laid to rest is in a village called Agweng. So if you go there and you just say Otoa Tony, they won't really know me because my father is also Otoa Tony. You have to ask for Junior, and when you're asking, you have to ask with an accent. Junior Tikwene, where is Junior? And they will identify me. But I'm typically Ugandan, only Ugandan, from Lira. I pride myself from being from Lira. Earlier on, I was joking and saying I'm the coolest Lago south of Karuma. When you cross Karuma, there are so many. But when you're down the south after Karuma, I think I'm number one.
Wow. Well, now that you know Tonyo Toa is Ugandan, and of course, what are the values that define you as a Ugandan?
I think it's the love for country, love for nation. You know, truth be told, the country is in a lot of, it's a crisis. Leadership crisis, economic crisis, social crisis. There's so many mismatching areas. But at the end of the day, it's home. You know, you cannot run and abandon your home because of the issues in your home. I think that then creates an opportunity for you to do something to change what's happening and what you see as a crisis. So in terms of what I see as a value, what I take out of that for me, I think is just the love for country, the need to serve country the best way I can. And I mean, I can't say I can change everything, but the little I can do to create a difference, I think is more meaningful.
Wow. Mr. Tonyo Toa, growing up, what did you want to be in life? And what was the journey like for Mr. Toa?
Yeah, you know, my father is crazy. My father would call us and he would show me the compass. The idea was supposed to be a pilot. You know, the planes would fly over our house and my father would be like, yeah, you're going to be a pilot. But of course, as you grow, you realize that you have so many things that really define you. I was never a sportsman. So I enjoyed a lot of debate and, you know, a lot of indoor activities. And that is, I think, what really drove me into some of the things that I do up to today. Public speaking, the love for debates and really a lot of intellectual discourse and all this stuff. But besides that, I think it's also the fact that I won't lie. I didn't know what I wanted to be.
Farmers around us here have no access to electricity, no access to clean cooking fuel, and no access to milling. So to mill their rice and groundnuts and maize, they have to drive miles away to Gulu. They have to pay for transport, they have to pay for storage and accommodation.
Mandulis is an electricity company that uniquely also provides agricultural value addition. Farmers bring us their crops and we turn this into higher value products. This alone doubles their income. We're trying to create a way of generating electricity that delivers value to the local communities in which we operate.
Now, we've come here so that we use the waste from all the farming around us to produce electricity through biomass gasification at each of these sites.
At the same time, that focus on biomass means we can not only generate electricity, but we end up with a byproduct, that biochar, which can be used to produce cooking fuel. Doing that means that we save nearly 1 million trees per annum. Technology is a thread that ties everything together. We combine the blockchain technology, AI, and Internet of Things to make sure that we can address critical bottlenecks that allows us to engage thousands of farmers. And the cost of settlement of electricity transactions go down significantly.
In a sense, energy is the center of entrepreneurship in the regions, and by providing these underserved areas with access to electricity, we're hoping that it won't just turn on a light, it'll turn on a movement towards improving people's lives in those regions.
Mando ya Musa, twesala bukumba sivya Medusa. Tolina kalimu falo liluza, reconnaissance, beba producer. Got chains on my neck and I'm looking like Kunta. Wanna close, boy I'm a shooter. I'm the boss with a dream like Luther. Namwongo boy, that's the hood I'm coming from, and I thought you knew that. Thugs and drug dealers, body mukako na. Why do I rap? I rap because I want to talk about stuff that other people don't talk about. I want to inspire people. I want to be the voice to the voiceless. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs, no. Wafuka so mean. In fact, Osinga I mean. Chirabikori half man, half machine. Mununzira bakuburi street. Buri chimwe chicho cha gunpoint. My nigga, tell us the point. Power to the people. Tebicha kola kubanga nobulula baniga babubba. Ba good cop, baba kuba masasi. Our only hope, ne baba kwata. Ba MPs, baba kuba kalimo rufu na kalulu nebebaka. Katite muji kwata ko. This is Leo Rich, rated fresh on XXL.
Ruba. Yeah. Leo Rich. Oh yeah. This is Uganda. 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 Hey, wake up, go look for paper. No money, no power, Mutesa. Talk more and get yourself tear gas. So all we do is look for the pesa. Uganda Zabu, rest in peace Zakayo. I'm from the 256, born with the heart of a lion. Don't talk about Alicia Keys, we got Irene and Desire. Yeah, I think Trump is shit. Yeah, should come see ours. And MPP's on the wall, pays 40K and free he goes. After 20 years of school, you still won't get a decent job. A rich man shoots, then a poor man gets locked up, but not for long. This is Uganda, brother. Ain't nobody gives a fuck. Uganda, 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 my country. Uganda, 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 my country. Oh dear God up in heaven, bless my country. Oh dear God in heaven, please bless my country. Oh yeah. This is Uganda. 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 Hey. I fell in love with the Rolex. I ain't talking about watches. You don't need a big bando. Only few coins get a mando. Yeah, back Kampala. Chino se chivuga chapafala. Smartphone yakavitu jitwala. Do for the 256. Uganda. Can't touch my flow like a crested train. Dropped out of school, got a different brain. The eyes tell them that my future's faint. You and your stupid as claims. This is Uganda, part of Africa. Do what you wanna. Go to school, read your books, or else smoke marijuana. I don't care what you do as long as wainayojofanya. This is Uganda, this is Uganda, light up your fire. This is Uganda. 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 This is Uganda.
Uganda, 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 my country. Uganda, 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 my country. Oh dear God in heaven, please bless my country. Oh dear God in heaven, please bless my country. Oh yeah.
People at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand. Yes. Remember Prince? Yes.
Elders must give to the young, they must mentor the young, they must make the young understand where we are going. They must paint the picture of where we are going. The mission is important. The vision is important. From an individual point of view, to a family point of view, to a father-mother point of view, children point of view, community point of view, and the foray into the nation is very important. And that's what we're talking about here on the Elders Wisdom Circle. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to first of all welcome Jaffa Remo Idi Amin Dada back on the show.
Thank you.
He's giving us opportunity to learn so much from you. I would like to say thank you very much, Jaffa.
Yeah.
First of all, my heart of humility goes to you. One, for being one son of Amin who likes to hang out with the common person.
But that was my father's indelible character. He was everyday people. Remember our first show? That's how I described him. And Muntu wa bulijjo.
Yes.
He did not have those notions of being a first family, His Excellency. No, for him, he was an ordinary people. And the irony of my autumn of my years is that I'm an ordinary person. We talked off air about the issue of mistaken sense of entitlement. I think that's the greatest disease amongst us. And that's the reason I chose this subject of restoring patriotism to our nation.
The things of the morning of your time.
Or bequeathed what you know.
Yes.
The experience transfer.
Exactly. It's very important.
They're actually inheritances.
Yes, yes.
These are inheritances.
And those are deep inheritances.
My God.
Because that's where it is the foundation upon which we build wealth.
Yeah.
We build understanding.
And continuity.
Leadership and continuity.
Yeah.
Which is what we call wealth multiplication. People often think that wealth multiplication is just a result of you've created wealth,
or
you've
grabbed
left the
it,
house,
or stole it.
Or stole it. And no, we're saying wealth of knowledge, wisdom, understanding put together is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to the Elders Wisdom Circle, of course, and we're going to toss to this as we dive into our last
to our mothers.
We always say this to everyone. This is what the elders do with the young. Jaffa, thank you. I want you to put the topic up there for all of us to see. Please put the topic up there, and we want to take you through to what this is about. And this is the last part. We started the discussion already, and we're saying restoring and upholding patriotic values within the nation, within our nation of Uganda.
Our sense of ownership. Sense of ownership.
Please, Ugandans, I want you to read that one more time. The sense of ownership. Please put it up there.
Nation.
Restoring and upholding the patriotic values within our nation. Okay, this is important for every African nation.
Yeah. And which is lacking. Which is lacking in Uganda.
Yes.
It's lacking.
It's lacking. In fact, it's important for every country in the world. Every country. I like what the Americans do. American is going to be, we watched a guy being arrested somewhere in Africa, and he started shouting, I'm an American, I have the Fifth Amendment rights.
I have my rights.
But yo, you are in Africa, you are outside.
It's the law of the jungle.
Yes.
At that moment, it's a decision of a whim.
Yes.
A whim.
Yes.
Somebody just decides.
Yes. But you see, what I learned from him when he was shouting, when he said, I'm an American, it's the sense of the patriotic values placed upon
and the laws that governed.
That when you hear it, you know it, the sense is this. What is that in our country? I want to put the, number 10 out there. Please put number 10 up there so that we can see it. Because we want to have this conversation when we're seeing the topic, when the topic is going up there. And I want everyone to know that this thing is very important as far as our conversation is concerned.
Yeah.
Jaffa, let's break this thing very quickly. Restoring.
Yeah.
What do we mean by restoring?
The restoration is, they found us with our cultures. But apparently, if a small nation like Uganda, a super nation amongst the Ugandans, felt they had a 1,000-year culture, they didn't need to mix with others. A sense of nationhood never came. For me, it's a restoration because by 1962, when Pachu, the father of the nation, received the instruments of power, there was a lot of hope. There was a lot of aspirational thought amongst our people that we had finally achieved Uhuru. But then we fell into the trap, which I see today with the MPs. Today they're discussing salaries rather than what they're going to bequeath to their constituencies. We lost track between 62 and 64. No, I am preeminent. What I call the mistaken sense of entitlement. And it was not about making sure every system is in place so that we work together selflessly, not selfishly. We need to restore that sense. If we can have it in a family unit is the perfect example of everyone working for the family. We ought to be able to see this country as a family. This notion is very dear to my heart, and please, we should never confuse it with nationalism. Two forms of nationalism happened. Baganda demanding for their federal, Yafe, that is nationalistic, mine. Ugandans saying, you Indians, of British origin, go back to England. We have deported you and we have expropriated what was once ours. That is nationalism. It's not patriotism. Patriotism is love of country and working as a unit. But sometimes the patriotic question always comes around. Do we go federal like Nigeria? Because Nigeria is the perfect example of federalism in Africa. We call it decentralization. But restoring would be all the units working. Bunyoro's oil, West Nile's oil, your shea butter, the apples in Kigezi and the iron ore. Buganda actually has the second largest freshwater body in the world. Do you know how expensive water is? When you try to point that out, plus the agriculture, everyone working to their strengths and as a unit. That is the sense of cohesion we need. And that is what I would want to do if I was ever to be an MP. Discuss those, not salaries, not entitlements, not 300,000 for the next Mercedes. These people are about Toyota. We were about Mercedes. They're obsessed with Toyota.
You can see the difference between the quality of understanding and the quality of life lived. And so they say if you get a son, a peasant, who has never been exposed to certain things and put him there, he will believe that this is the best
that has ever been. Somebody told me there was no colors in the 70s. Where are these colored pictures coming from? I said, that is a Chankwanzi doctrine. When you place a year zero, Muganda will tell you, you've been here for 1,000 years. Where have you been?
No, because we've all coexisted. Actually, for me, I think that the Buganda and everyone talking about, it's clear. What you've said earlier, which we understood from there, is that some people came in here for trade, found us organized, and
used us.
And used
us.
No,
they used us.
No. Something happened because we are not very into it, but are we still allowing that to continue happening?
It is. World Bank and IMF is simply the extractive industry in play. Since the time of the missionaries, since the time of Lugard. But somehow, you have to give credit where it's due. Our president today knows how to play the game. There's a game, an intricate game, and he simply knows how to play it. You can't continuously be winning like Man U in the 90s, getting me angry, Arsenal supporter, unless. But that's the whole point for us. I was showing off that I have moves. or my father's generosity could have been misconstrued.
Yes.
By paying $1 billion to the Indians, they saw that as extravagance or foolhardy.
Patriotic values. How do we uphold the patriotic values, Jaffa, within our nation?
We have a judiciary that works.
And I want you to speak to the old and to the young.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a judiciary that works. We pray that they are paid well enough not to have what we call or that temptation of taking a bribe. That is speaking to power. We have a legislature that works. It's too big, by the way. For me, I want 15 regions. If you're restructuring the government, please just bring back our 15 regions and let us work from that point of, so that we have 15 parliamentarians in every sector. Youth, women, elders.
That would be too many people.
No, that is less. We are back to 15 provinces, brother.
Okay, yes.
15.
But you see, we don't...
multiplied by 7.
Please forgive me because I didn't know that they existed before.
Yeah, but the provinces have been undermined because we have a mistaken sense of entitlement where we want patronage. I said it so many times before, everybody's trying to be a kabaka. So patronage becomes a disease.
But the kabaka is not a patronage.
No, that is what chiefdom is.
But those are created by...
No.
They are
king, all powerful. When you try to be all powerful, you want to become a king, all encompassing. It means you'll always want to be the provider.
But the kings and kings have lived all the time.
They have, but they had the Katongoles. They had Katongoles, they had a prime minister.
Yes.
The system worked.
Yes. Yes.
And we are simply saying, if they had 19 or 20 in Uganda, let's go back to 15 per region. Decentralization should get to the point of just 15 regions. Multiplied by 7 officials who represent us in the legislature. Please, we cut down. If we're going to cut down in all these things, how can you have a ministry, then you have an overseer, ombudsman for that. IGG office should be the ombudsman. We used to use in business studies, ombudsman oversees these things. Not a lot of authorities left, right and center. Each one feeding off. UTB eats more money than even the ministry. Yet it's just a marketing tool to market the country.
Wow.
So we're creating monsters that feeds off a patronage, a vicious circle that is creating greed and a mistaken sense of entitlement.
So what lesson should we pick from you, Jaffa? Put it up again. Restoring and upholding our patriotic values within our nation. I
love my country. I love my country enough not to go back into exile and dream of becoming a president because my father was one. I want to be able to come home and serve. It's called servant leadership. It's not a derogatory term. It is you serving your nation.